Hey, Anne Claire.
Hi, Meg. How are you?
I'm doing swell. How are you?
I'm doing splendidly.
Splendidly. Lovely, lovely. What are you up to this weekend? What are your plans for Easter?
Not yet. I think I'm having dinner with my mom, brother, like partners, sort of a thing on Saturday. But no, I mean, we did just land back from our vacation and we're sort of trying to figure it out and take it slowly-ish because we have a very busy month of May, and then we might be in like prep mode already for next month, and then try to catch up on life and chores and cleaning clothes, all the fun stuff.
So fun. Love that. I need to do some cleaning out of my closet ASAP, probably like within the next week or two. What are you guys doing in May that makes you so busy in May? Are you traveling again?
My husband's parents are visiting us in Brussels, and then we're going to go all together to Paris. And then we are also going away to Germany to visit our friends. And then we'll be back. And then I am leaving for Portugal. So basically, the month of May is going to be like one. Like,
Oh my
it's
God.
going to go so fast. So
Yeah.
we need to be like all geared up and ready to go by the end of this month, or else it's just not going to go really well.
Honestly, I feel you on that. I feel like starting next weekend with Disney, then it's like off to the races for me too, because it's like Disney, then I'm doing Boston for a wedding, then I'll be in Dallas for my sister's baby shower, and it just keeps coming. It doesn't stop.
Yeah.
And then Portugal, which is awesome and very exciting, and I'm thrilled
Yes.
for it.
Other thing that's happening in May is that we will be reopening the doors of the Recovery Collective.
I know.
So that's always a big thing for you and I.
That's always huge, like the launch process, because first of all, we open the doors 3 times a year, very specifically, because we want to put all our energy and focus on recruiting those new members during that spurt of time. Because if we were trying to recruit new members all year, it would just be way too much. And we wouldn't be able to focus on the lovely humans who are in our community. So I love this setup for us because we're nurturing our humans for the majority of the year. And then we focus like half a month on intense door open process. And then we can relax again and focus on the people who we are here to help.
Yeah, and the cohort system is really appreciated as well by our humans. Like, it didn't used to be like this, but we turned it into this, and it's been really appreciated. But yeah, it does mean that it's always like a little like accelerator and like intensifier in terms of busyness for you and I. But yeah, so.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we have a lot of prep to start doing with that. And oh my God, thankfully the retreat's right after that, so we can relax and take a breather and enjoy Portugal without having to worry about the doors opening or anything like that.
I'm so looking forward to it.
I know. Oh, I can't wait. We still have a few spots open, by the way, to the lovely viewers here who feels like stable enough in their recovery to do some travel with other folks in recovery. Definitely check out the links in our show notes, or I guess they're called show notes on YouTube, to learn more about the retreat. It's called Recovery and Beyond, and we would love for you to come.
We would.
So it's like you don't have to watch us on YouTube. Your week could be like you're watching one long YouTube episode of me and Anne.
Exactly. Imagine us. I was going to say nonstop, and then I thought, no, that sounds really scary. I promise we do breaks, and you don't have to always stick around with us. But honestly, such a highlight of my summer last year, and I'm really looking forward to it. If you have any questions, like, just reach out to us. We're so happy to share more and hop on a call even, or get you in touch with someone else that has gone last year. So yeah.
Yay. Okay, we're already sidetracked a lot. We need to bring up the question that was asked, and I'm going to read it to you, and you will take it away.
Sounds good.
Okay, so the question that came up recently was basically, it was like a comment question. It was like, can you talk about physical and mental discomfort after eating and how to manage that and take care of yourself?
Yes. First of all, please know you're not the only one who's struggling with that. I mean, this is something that I'm pretty sure we both experienced and that we bump into with clients all the time. So I just want to normalize the fact that this is tricky first. And when it comes to what to do with it, I would really approach it exactly like you worded it, i.e. both the mental side of things and the physical side of things, because I find that those are two important angles that can, depending on you and or the situation specific context and whatnot, really help you shift and tolerate that discomfort a little bit more. But I don't want to get carried away, and I want to see how that sits with you.
I think you're completely right. There's the physical component, which is the obvious one, I think, for so many. And then we have to remember that our thoughts are also causing a lot of the discomfort. And sometimes they can blur together and just make the entire experience really difficult to manage. And it makes eating even harder, right? Knowing that the aftermath of eating can cause that much discomfort. I like to be prepared on the physical front, because for me, I find my physical feeling impacts my thoughts, right? So if I'm wearing really tight jeans, I will like easily start to think negatively, like body image wise. Even sometimes now, it's not like we're all immune to this, right? And it's like in recovery, that's heightened and maximized even more because you're like triggered. There's high emotions. You might use a behavior if you're not taking care of the way your body feels.
So but that's because the meaning that we attach to it is different. Like the physical discomfort is still present. Like the example you gave is perfect. If we wear really tight jeans and we have a nice meal, we might, or for whatever reason, we're more bloated from the meal we ate, which is a normal physical reaction, by the way. Nothing like, I mean, obviously there are situations where it can be specifically dealt with actions, but bloating is like a normal bodily thing. We're going to feel physically uncomfortable. But what's different is the meaning that we're attaching to that physical discomfort.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's very true. And I also find sometimes people have emotions connected to that physical discomfort that are so deeply ingrained from like maybe living in a family of dieting and as a kid being shamed for what they're eating. So sometimes there's even very deeply rooted attached emotions to that physical discomfort. Like an emotion like shame is connected to fullness. So there's a lot going on. But again, I find that if you can just be mindful of your physical body and be very gentle with what you're going to wear. So it's like stretchy, soft clothing when you're going out to a dinner. That's going to help you a lot.
Throughout recovery, honestly, it's probably a good bet.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, be proactive about it. Be preventative. Just know, like, do I really want to wear this really tight pair of jeans that looks great, but I don't like how it feels when I sit in them or when I am full in them, and like be preventative and say, okay, I'm just going to wear like these leggings and a cute slouchy sweater, and I'm going to be comfy and still stylish. It's a balance of recognizing that's my first take. And then after eating, being able to manage and cope with the thoughts that do come up if they are still triggered while you're like wearing comfortable clothes.
So it's funny because I would actually add more. If we're talking about proactive stuff that you can do, not only would I consider the clothes in recovery overall, but especially when coming to like meals and stuff. But I would also make sure that, you know, this emotional component, what happens is that if we're very stressed out and anxious, it will impact, for example, our digestion and how food is being processed by our body. And so if we come to a meal extremely anxious, stressed out in a pair of jeans, we're basically not helping ourselves out in any way whatsoever. And of course, you can shift and wear, I don't know, like stretchy leggings or whatever, but you can also actually help soothe yourself before you approach the meal. And so if you just, I don't know, spend 3 minutes breathing, that can soothe your nervous system. Or actually use some of those reminders of how this is like a safe thing that you're doing, that you're choosing this, that this is good for your recovery, etc., which could to an extent be similar to the ones that you use afterwards when if you do still feel discomfort, but you could actually already use them before in order to soothe your nervous system and like your monkey mind that might already be getting like a bit activated and real fast, so that your body already reacts differently and your mind reacts differently as you eat. So you just made me think of that when you were talking about all the proactive things that you can do. And when it comes to the after, but those reminders, 100% use them. Like, so prep them, right? Like, it's so much easier when you have prepped them ahead of time. And I would also say, use distractions. You know, this is where distractions can be used in a very intentional way, because typically, like we said earlier, what's really hard is the meaning that we're attaching to this discomfort, and maybe it's the fullness that we're experiencing. And maybe our body looks different, but definitely feels different. And that's tricky. You know, maybe that's not the moment to sort of like zoom in on the discomfort. And sometimes reframing can be really helpful. And sometimes it just keeps us stuck in it. Use distractions, maybe, you know, maybe watch something, speak to someone, get your brain and your attention to focus on something else. It will help with the whole process, because your mind won't be as attached and filled with that really harsh meaning that you're giving to the situation in that moment.
Yes. Distraction is such a good one. Even like watching a YouTube video like the Megan and Claire show when you're feeling physical discomfort, or non-recovery related content can be really helpful. I find it's really helpful for some, can be better to just focus on and show you right. So that's really good. But I also just love how you brought up self-talk before and after. Like, focus on redirecting your self-talk and your inner voice to something that is more recovery focused, body positive, if you can. More self-compassion is really the key to helping you get to a place where that physical discomfort isn't becoming something about you. It's not this triggering thing. It's just a neutral experience. Yeah, I'm feeling really bloated right now, and this makes sense because I just ate this meal and I'm in recovery and my digestion isn't exactly where it used to be, and I'm trying to get that back online and heal that. If you put your experience of physical discomfort into context, it creates an experience of compassion and understanding where you're at. And that can bring a lot of mental peace.
In terms of like other ideas that I have in terms of like physical state of things or side of things, I would say sometimes the consequences internally of the discomfort is using behaviors. And sometimes that's going to mean that changing the physical place where you are can help soothe the physical and mental discomfort. I will also say sometimes, and I'm thinking of yoga postures because I'm also yoga trained, but there are certain postures that will help with digestion simply because it helps shift things internally and massage your organs in a certain way if you want. They're very gentle, and something that I like is going to be different than something that someone else likes, but maybe depending on you, that might be something you can look into. I remember that we actually did that when we did our December free workshop series. Yeah, our winter reset. And they're very gentle, right? They're postures that you typically stay in or you move very gently through them. So they're typically very safe movement wise, and they can also help you compassionately respond to the discomfort. And sometimes that's going to, again, depend on different people, but some people like actually massaging, for example, their belly and repeat like mantras or reminders and trying to sort of imagine that as being like, I'm sending love and compassion. Of course, if that doesn't speak to you, don't do that. But for some, it can be like a healing practice to sort of like, okay, I know the context of this situation, like you just said, and I'm trying to be compassionate with myself. I'm trying to heal my body and my relationship to my body and food. And, you know, digestion is tricky right now, but it's going to get better and whatever. So explore different options and see what works for you. At the end of the day, I will say the goal is really to sit with the discomfort and tolerate it, as sucky as that goal sounds. Because it's so normal. I don't want it to sound like what we're suggesting should remove all of the discomfort. Yeah. What we're doing is we're increasing your ability to tolerate that discomfort and to sit with it. It will pass.
Yes.
And I want to add, if you find that digestion is really like tricky for you, please work with a dietitian and ask them questions, because as much as digestive problems are very common in recovery, because the ways that we behave mess up with the ways that our digestive organs function, it still deserves specialized attention. And they would definitely be that person that can sort of help you navigate those things and give you specific like tips when it comes to the food side of things. And maybe there's something there to be also considered.
I love that you brought that up. I think one point I want to share when it comes to digestion is digestive issues are very common in eating disorder recovery. They're very frequently experienced. So refrain from self-diagnosis with, oh, must mean I'm gluten free, or I can't handle dairy, or I need to cut out these things. Because when you have an eating disorder, your eating disorder is going to latch onto that. It might even disguise it as a preference, like, oh, I just don't like dairy. And then you find yourself trying to heal your digestion through dieting, which is going to cause more harm than good. So again, if you find that you're that person who's trying to find the quickest solution to digestion, buying all the probiotics, buying all the, whatever supplements that you see on the counter for it, it's like, pause, take a breather, and look for professional help, because often the answer might just be resolved by eating more. Maybe your state of restriction is the problem, even though it's really uncomfortable to own that and accept that. That might actually be the root of it all. So anyway, we're going off on a different tangent with digestion. I love the thought of just responding with compassion, whether that's wearing comfier clothes and snuggling up with hot tea and a blanket. That gives your brain the signal, I can take care of myself in this. I don't necessarily have to beat myself up. If I can wrap myself in a blanket and have some tea, I am doing something nice for myself right now. And that can dissolve that mental distress and also take care of that physical discomfort. All right.
I think just wrapped it up so nicely. I don't want to ruin it by adding a sentence.
Wrapped it up in a little bow. Sometimes I never know how to stop. We're just so chatty today.
This is literally the issue. It was like, I can say 5 million other things, but then we're going to go on 5 million other tangents. And this is not the point.
I like tangents sometimes, but it's our show. We can say what we want.
That's
as
true.
long as it's semi on topic, I think it can count.
Yes. Considering we already did an entire show based off of tangents, I would say that's already what we're doing.
Okay. Maybe we need to change the name of our show to Tangentially Recovery. Tangential Sidetracks plus Recovery.
Well, we don't need to exaggerate it, okay? We still keep on track a lot of the time. No, we do.
We're completely on track right now. We are so on track.
Yeah. Now it feels like we're being too nice, but we did brilliantly well. You were swell and fantastic.
Anne Claire, you knocked it out of the park today. You are just amazing. This is the best show. Well, honestly, this isn't sarcastic. You're the best co-host there is.
Aw, I truly feel the same about you in a very non-sarcastic way, like really, genuinely.
Yeah. We have to be real for a second. Well, thank you, Anne Claire.
So now that we've love bombed each other, I do want to say our subscribers and people watching this are also the absolute effing best. We love you so much, and we're so, so grateful for you being here with us.
Yes, thank you so much for watching. We love hearing from you. Definitely let us know what you think about this episode and submit your questions. We love seeing what the readers want to know, and it helps us just create more content that you all want to see. All right, everyone. We hope you have a beautiful day. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.